And I think I have met a couple of the people in this room before, and I hope by the end of this week that I get to meet all of you. And I want to start by saying thank you so much to every single person that's in this room, and a round of applause for yourselves. A big one, come on, really feel it. Let's get some energy in here. The fact is, all of us know it is a challenge to get out on the road and to do things and be there. We all have all sorts of things that are happening and reasons to not make the trip. So I just want every single one of you to know how much I truly and absolutely appreciate you. And we have brought a very special guest that is going to come and speak to you tonight. And I'll tell you a little bit about Kelly Cardenas. If you thought that a homeless person like snuck in the lobby in there, that I give Kelly a hard time on that, but I did catch in a conversation where someone's like, Kelly, how'd you get here? And he's like, oh, I got here in a hot air balloon. And then you look at Kelly, you're like, yeah, you know what? He might have actually landed a hot air balloon to come here. So a little bit about Kelly. He is one of the most positive people I've ever met. And those of you who have met me know that I do like positivity, so on that. And really what he brings to the table is, it truly is so much. And the way he leads and the things that he's done. So he has inspired countless companies. He's built a multi-million-dollar empire that he then sold. He's written best-selling books. He's recorded over 700 podcasts. He also charges somewhere in the neighborhood of $25,000 for his public speaking. You'll be surprised to hear that Rich Viola did not pay Kelly's full fare. So what we're gonna pay Kelly with is a lot of applause when he's speaking tonight. And another one, so some of the events that Kelly is charging about $5,000 to get in the room of, those of us on the vendor side, so we're not that far off on that part, but again, like the truth is, what it is with Kelly is it's worth it. And what you're gonna see is he's a truly inspiring person, and he brings a great deal to the table, not just awesome dreadlocks, although he brings that as well. So Kelly, I'd love to have you join on the stage, and then I'll exit myself.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I got that one?
Yeah.
Perfect. Can you give... It's working now. Can you give Nick a big round of applause too, please? I'll tell you a secret as long as you don't tell any other industry. Yes? The hospitality industry is my favorite industry in the whole entire world. It's the only industry that I want to speak for, although I speak for every industry, the financial industry, the real estate industry, and all across the board, but I tell you guys the only industry that I want to speak at is the hospitality industry, because I think everybody should be studying you guys. There is so many things in this room and so many ways that so many companies can learn from you. And I wish more with our company before we sold it. I actually didn't study anyone in my industry. I only studied you guys. And because we studied you, we were able to give the type of service that you guys see as normal. I connected with my buddy Rob today, and he said, what are you doing today? And I said, well, what are you doing? Because I thought that was the nice thing to do. He said, I'm going golfing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And he said, well, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm going to speak for the hospitality industry. He said, well, what are you going to speak about? And I said, I'm going to speak about the power of the vibe. He was like, how are you going to get that across to the hospitality industry? I said, it's simple, Rob. I'm going to tell him about the crotchety old lady, some dog poop, and a flag football game. He was like, oh, high five, and then he walked on. So I was riding my bike the other day, and I don't know if any of you are cyclists, but if you're a cyclist, you don't advertise it to your friends because you have to go full spandex. And so I haven't told Nick this, but I get in full spandex, I ride out of the neighborhood, I don't wave to anybody, but I got to the intersection about a block away from our house, and it's uphill, and as I'm coming through, it's a stale green light. And when I get to the stale green light, I look over, and there's a crotchety old lady in her car, and she just glares at me because I'm going real slow. It's a stale green light, but she's ready to turn right. So I'm holding up her life as she looked at me and said, with no words, But in that moment, I realized this woman has never, ever ridden a bike before, because if she did, she would have some empathy for this guy that stretched all that spandex out and was looking like a caterpillar on that bike, trudging up the hill at 1 mile an hour. As I entered the intersection, I was about halfway through, and she wouldn't even make eye contact with me. That's how I knew that she wasn't a cyclist either. She wouldn't even make the eye contact, like she was just better than me. And then I went through the intersection, and right as I got out, she slammed on the gas, turned right, almost to tell me, you were in my way and a huge inconvenience. Well, then I got home, and I thought it was a me day. So I said, what I'll do is I'll go on my bike, get out the spandex. I got a freezer that I converted into a cold plunge, like a lot of you guys did on January 1st, right? You did it for 2 days and then called it a resolution. But I got the 84-inch one, and I had waterproofed it, did all the stuff out in the backyard, and I go out, and I think I'm going to have a spiritual experience out here. 49-degree water, dumbest thing you could ever do. Doesn't help your health. We'll find out 5 years from now that it doesn't do anything at all, except just make you feel a little bit better or just cold. But I saw this 49-degree water, and I'm going to get in it. And as I go in to get in it, I'm like, something's got to help me here. Something's got to help my spirit, because it's going to be really cold. So I turn on some gospel music. And I turn it up as loud as possible. Now, my neighbors think I'm weird, because we're here in California, and our backyards are like the size of a postage stamp. And I'm in my drawers, in my backyard, gospel flowing, and I'm about to get in this cold water at 49 degrees. And before I got in, I had to get my mind right. I had to get my spirit right. And I turn on the music. I turn on the 3.5 minutes that you're supposed to be in to help your life out. And I get in, and my body goes hot. If you guys have ever done this, your body goes hot first, and then you go cold, and then you just question everything in your whole entire life. You get mad at people that you don't even know. And I was laying in it, and I laid back, and then the calm came over me because I heard the gospel music, and sweet baby Jesus was there in presence with me, I felt. And as I laid my head back, because you got to relax, you can't tense up like my wife does all the time. She's in the room, and she knows she does this, and I tell her not to, but I won't judge her. And as I leaned back and I relaxed, and I finally got to that spiritual experience, I realized that my little dog Ziggy had left a present very close to the top where I leave my head of the cold plunge. And the wind happened, and when the wind happened, a big waft of dog crap hit me while I'm in this spiritual experience and ruined everything. And then that night I went to practice with my son. I coach flag football, and coaching flag football is fun because it's one of those things where if you didn't do well in high school, you coach your kids, and then you act like your kids should be going pro, and you think that they're going to get scouted. They're not, because very few people go pro. But all of us dads are out there, and I'm coaching my son, and we get to the end of practice, and the greatest thing in the world at practice, especially a 7th and 8th grade flag football, is a scrimmage. But I'm looking for teams all around, and there's no team to scrimmage. I asked one, they said no. Then I finally looked over, and there was these little tiny kids. They were 5th and 6th grade. My kid is 7th and 8th grade. And I said, will you guys scrimmage? They said yes. And all of our team started laughing. They were like, we're going to whoop these kids. And I could see my son, because my son's a quarterback. I think he'll be in the NFL. And my son starts getting this confidence to him. He starts talking to the other guys. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. First play, touchdown. Second play, touchdown. Now they got all their bravado. Then these little kids, 5th and 6th grade, about a foot and a half shorter than all the rest, they then got their pride in them. And they said it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. And these kids started whooping on our kids. Well, then our kids were like, no, it ain't going out like that. I'm going to show you. And then they started scoring. They were going back and forth, back and forth. And then we finally went up by 2 touchdowns. And the coach was like, okay, it's over. I said, do you want to do one more drive? And the coach looked at me and said, yes. I said, only if you pull out your best plays, because I want our kids to get whooped. Because I want them to go home thinking they need to get better, as opposed to thinking that they're the best. And he said, oh yeah, I got the right play. Kid drops back, 5th and 6th grade, he drops back, throws a ball about half the field. I was like, man, that was a great pass. Kid gets up, does the gritty. I can't even do it. I'm not going to try. But you know what I'm talking about if you got kids. If you don't, I don't even like you. Then the coach said, I think that was the last play. I said, no, you can finish out the drive. I said, but if you do this drive, this play has to be the number one play. He looked at me, he said, I got you. I said, I want our kids to get whooped right now. He said, I got you. He calls in the play, the kid drops back. The most heralded play in all of flag football is not the interception, it's the pick six. It's to get the interception, run it back for a touchdown, then gritty on top of people. Dance in their face. It's more, in this culture now with kids, it's more exciting to dance and celebrate than it is to actually score the touchdown. So the kid drops back, 5th or 6th grade, he drops back, and he hucks this ball way up, like huge arc. And my son, proud dad here, my son is playing cornerback, and he steps back, and he can see the ball. And the kid behind him is 1.5 feet shorter, and my son is like, I can see it, salivating. And the ball at the top arc, I can see him. And my son looks over at me, glances at me, and he's like, Dad, I got it. I'm about to break off this pick six. Ball is coming down, my son gets even more. He just starts getting loose. Ball is coming down. Right as it comes down to my son's hand, the kid that's 1.5 feet shorter runs right in front of him, grabs the ball, touchdown, game's over. You see, in the hospitality industry, the crotchety lady was only crotchety to me because she had not experienced what I had experienced. And in the hospitality industry, you're susceptible if the people in your staff have not experienced what it's like to be a client of your place. When I pulled into the valet today, there was a young man that was absolutely amazing. When I pulled up, I knew the level, not only the grounds are so beautiful here, but I knew the level of service because the way that I was greeted. But that valet could have been the dog poop. Because everything could be right. The spiritual music, baby Jesus just coming down, you're relaxed, you got a spiritual experience, you're in 49-degree weather, but you're calm. And in the hospitality industry, there could be just one little tiny piece of dog poop that would kill the whole entire memory, and that's all the people will talk about when they walk out. And that little kid that was 1.5 feet shorter than my son, that was willing to run faster than him, that was willing to adapt different. My son rested back on who he was, the size of him. You see, this property here could rest back on that it has one of the greatest names in San Diego. I live here. But if it does, or if you do as a large company, and you don't stay nimble, someone else will run around and snatch your market share from you. When my friend asked me about how I was going to deliver the power of the vibe, it was very simple to me. A crotchety old lady, some dog doo-doo, and flag football. Because the vibe is not the energy that you bring into the room. It's the way that people feel when you leave. And the way to be able to construct that is by taking your belief system, your intentions, and your skills, and when they're aligned, it creates an irresistible vibe that people won't understand why they're buying from you. But they will buy every single thing that you are selling. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and that's my time. Have a great day.